Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Minio. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Well, farmers are preparing for a third year of corn and soybean prices that won't pay the bills. As purchases for the 2025 season begin, more farmers are making appointments with their bankers and studying input supplies financing deals. Illinois farmers are forecast to have a third consecutive year of operating returns that fall short of paying their land rent. Few farmers will be able to self-fund their input costs like they did in 23 and 24. I don't know how many guys are going to be able to pay in cash this year, said Illinois farmer and agmarket.net founder Matt Bennett, adding that growers he talks to are weighing a variety of strategies to minimize expenses without jeopardizing yield. At the late summer farm shows, Bennett said few people seem to have pre-purchase fertilizer, but he wasn't sure how many were reevaluating their application plans compared to those waiting to see if prices keep going down. Fuel and fertilizer prices are expected to soften for 2025 growing season, according to initial projections from the University of Illinois Farm Doc team. Across regions of Illinois, projected corn and soybean returns improve relative to 2024, but remain negative for 2025, wrote ag economist Nick Paulson, Gary Schnitke, Bradley Zwing, and Carl Zuloff in a recent blog post. Central Illinois returns to high productivity land for corn are projected at negative $73 per acre for 2025 compared to negative $161 for 2024. Similarly, projected returns to soybeans for 2025 are negative $50 per acre compared to negative $53 for 2024. While interest rates could continue to decline in 25, higher borrowing levels could offset the potential for significant per-acre cost reductions. Break-even costs, including cash rent for farmland across Illinois, are forecast to range between $4.60 and $4.66 per bushel for corn and $11.01 and $11.56 per bushel of soybeans. Production costs remain above their pre-2020 levels, they wrote. History would suggest further cost adjustments may continue to occur, but will do so gradually over multiple years. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Still dealing with our frontal boundary passage here in Ohio through most of the day today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your forecast update. Overall, not seeing any significant changes in thought process. This front just needs to work its way through. It lingered to our west for quite a bit yesterday, starting to push into Ohio overnight last night, and the front still has to clear a large majority of the state through the day today. I think it does so by mid-afternoon, but we may not get rid of clouds in southern parts of Ohio until overnight tonight. Rains today can be anywhere from a quarter to 3/4 of an inch. Coverage will end up being about 80% of the state. We are drier tomorrow with full sunshine. High pressure sets up over Iowa, Illinois, and even western Indiana. That's going to give us beautiful weather for tomorrow, for Friday, and for Saturday. Good evaporation, fast drying. We have some moisture coming up from the southern plains and central plains for the latter part of the weekend. Overnight Saturday night through Sunday, we see scattered showers hit and miss here when we're looking at probably a 1/10 to 6/10 of an inch with coverage at around 80% of the state. Behind that, dry for next Monday and Tuesday. Next front comes overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday. Moisture, 1/2 inch or less. Not a big deal there, but this front is impressive because of the cold air it brings behind. Significantly cold air for the balance of next week. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Cold Canadian high pressure is here. I think temperature's probably near normal, but it's going to feel like we're below based on as warm as we've been here recently. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in now with Joe Panorwood.
As harvest across Ohio is wrapped up a bit earlier than most years, that means we might have a bit extra time in the fields to be thinking more focused on our fall burn-down strategy. That's the topic in the latest from the Amplifying Ag video series from BASF. Alice Harris is Technical Service Representative for Ohio.
So most of your herbicides are going to be more effective when daytime temperatures are somewhere between 65 and 75. Now, while that's easy to achieve, we do start dipping into some of those lower temperatures as we move towards December. So keeping an eye on that. Your herbicides are going to work more effectively if the weeds are still actively growing. So the colder we get, or if we get into more frost situations, we want to make sure that we're waiting for those higher daytime temperatures in order to make sure we have good herbicidal efficacy.
She also says be sure to use adjuvants and make sure it's at the right use rate. And fall burn down has some hidden benefits, such as reducing overwinter areas for pests.
Can also help increase our soil temperatures as we go into the planting season. That can be really important to help us achieve our maximum yield potential by giving you more time to get out in the field. Really helps reduce that early season weed competition that we know can be silent yield robbers. So as you wrap up harvest on your field, make sure you're getting out and that you're scouting these areas, understanding what weeds are out there in your field.
More from Alice Harris of BASF and the latest from the BASF Amplifying Ag video series online today at ohioagnet.com. I'm Joel Norwood reporting.
And thanks, Joel. Well, USDA's rule requiring electronic identification ear tags for cattle traveling across state lines went into effect yesterday, Tuesday, November the 5th. RCAF USA and other groups are suing USDA over the new rule requiring electronic identification tags for certain beef cattle, bison, and dairy cows moving across state lines. Meanwhile, the new Civil Liberties Alliance has filed a lawsuit on behalf of the Ranchers Cattlemen Action Legal Fund, United Stockyards of America, the South Dakota Stock Growers Alliance, and Farm and Ranch Farm Alliance, as well as individual producers. The lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court of South Dakota on October 30th asked for the court to vacate the EID final rule, permanently blocking USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service from enforcing the rule or requiring producers to use EID or radio frequency identification tags. Under the rule initially announced last April, the following classes of cattle and bison are required to have visible, readable EID tags for interstate movement. That will be sexually intact cattle and bison 18 months or older, dairy cattle of any age, cattle and bison of any age used for rodeos, shows, or exhibitions. The EID tags have a unique 15-digit number that is printed on the tag. USDA has stated the rule will help producers by making it easier to track animals during an animal disease outbreak. ADT, or animal disease traceability, allows a much more focused response that does not require quarantine of nearly as many herds. This is especially important to allow as many producers as possible to continue their business without disruption, USDA stated. USDA estimate the number of cattle affected by the rule would be about 11 million head per year. That appears to limit the total cost of the rule, but some believe the number of cattle that will be required to receive tags is significantly higher. Also, some question whether regulations enacted by Ag Secretary can lead to civil and criminal penalties. Back with more after this.
Since 1926, Nationwide has been rooted in agriculture. Founded as the Farm Bureau Mutual Automobile Insurance Company with a mission to protect farmers and their communities, we honor our legacy by offering solutions that evolve with the complex needs of today's farms. As the leading insurer of America's farms and trusted by 8 farm bureaus for 100 years and counting, Nationwide is on your side. Number 1 insurer based on 2023 direct written premium per AM Best. Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Soybeans grown in Ohio and across the heartland are meeting the feedstock demand for clean fuels. Biodiesel is a clean-burning and reliable fuel that enhances engine life, power, and mileage. Plus, this high-performance fuel works in any diesel engine without modification. With biodiesel, we fuel the economy, do good for the environment, and support soybean farmers. Learn how using biodiesel can add value to every bushel of soybeans grown at soyohio.org. Ohio archery hunters have checked 48,321 deer through Sunday, November 3rd, which includes the first 6 weekends of bow hunting. That according to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Wildlife. The 24-25 statewide archery season began on Saturday, September 28th and continues through Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. Deer harvested this year include 23,311 antlered deer and 25,010 antlerless deer, a category which includes does and button bucks. The average bow harvest through the first weekend of November over the last 3 years is 50,844 white-tailed deer. Last year, hunters checked 51,352 deer over the same period. During the 23-24 deer hunting season, 105,158 of the 213,928 deer checked were taken with a bow, and last season was the first time the archery harvest topped 100,000, an indication that the popularity of bow hunting continues to rise. The historic 23-24 archery total included 75,462 taken with a crossbow and 29,696 with a vertical bow. Also, bow hunting is available on both public and private land. Bow hunting hotspots are the eastern and south central portions of the state. Time now for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets have finished a little bit higher on a Tuesday. It was election day, and that was probably the biggest focal point for the markets overall. Thinning volume in the trade yesterday. Very few traders wanted to add to their market risk ahead of the results of the U.S. election. The results not probably going to be known in entirety over the next few days. Corn, soybean, wheat futures all were slightly higher yesterday amid a continued exit of net short positions out there ahead of the election. The lack of a clear presidential favorite led to short covering yesterday and honestly back into last week. Confidence in the Trump trade that had been in here was in decline since the weekend amid a potential surge in polling numbers for Harris. Brokers estimate that managed money booked about 4,200 contracts of corn, 2,900 contracts of soybeans, were net flat in wheat. In the products funds sold 2,100 contracts of soy oil, 1,200 contracts of soy meal bought yesterday. Macroeconomic fireworks will come later on this week if we see a winner one way or the other, or a congressional winner can be identified. A little bit of demand talk here for you, and we'll have more on this in our other report, but the U.S. is estimating to have about 6 million metric tons of corn that's been sold to unknown destinations through November 4th. That's double the 5-year average, and that has the industry wondering who is unknown. Mexico has bought about 10.8 million metric tons. That's more than half their annual WASDE import estimate. And there's no doubt that Mexico is forward securing U.S. corn amid potential for U.S. tariffs and a trade war and this non-GMO mess. Mexican corn importers want to get ahead of potential U.S. tariffs in 2025. Mexico is an unknown buyer of corn, but more speculation out there is that maybe unknown is Spain and Portugal due to the slowness of their corn harvest amid excessive rainfall. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. I'll have the overnight figures after this.
Whether you're in the fields or on the farm, creating a safer work environment has never been easier. BWC's safety consulting services are included with your policy premiums and offer training and education for everyone in your farming operation. It's always the right time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, here to help you work safely.
Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight, December corn down a penny in 1 quarter at $4.17 in 1 quarter. March down 2 at $4.30. Soybeans, you better be ready for this. November beans down 20 cents at $9.73 3 quarters. January down 14 at $9.87 3 quarters. December wheat down 8 1 quarter at $5.64 1/4 cent. July wheat down 7 1 quarter at $6 1/2 cent. In livestock, December cattle down 30 cents at $184.77. February up 2 cents at $185.95. December lean hogs $81.12, down 2.10. February $84.50, down 82 cents. Feeder cattle for January, $242.35, down 7, while March up 25 at $240.50. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Menyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.